Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, and today we're going to be talking about Robert Eggers' follow-up to The Witch, The Lighthouse, with Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. I'd really been excited to see this movie for a long time. In fact, it's been available to rent, to buy, and I just haven't gotten around to it. I honestly, I have to be careful with my money, sometimes, and it's like, it just came to the Red Box, and so it was like $1.80 to rent the DVD. Amazon wants you to rent it for $6 fucking. I'm like, I'm not renting anything for $6. I'm sorry, it's not happening. And I didn't know if I was gonna like it enough, and I also feel like this is one of those movies gonna end up on a streaming service quick, just like The Witch did. Like The Witch just showed up all over the place. And I'm like, man, if I just buy this thing, I'm going to end up being able to watch it for free in a week. I just know it. So I held out till now. And what do I think about The Witch? Or The Witch, The Lighthouse. Well, I feel like just like Midsummer by, oh wow, I had the name of that person. I can't remember. The guy who directed Hereditary. I feel like with a lot of sophomore movies, I don't, maybe that's not his sophomore movie, but second big movie, right? So you get a lot of success with a movie like Hereditary, just like Eggers got a lot of success with The Witch. Or at least critical success, or, word of mouth, people going, oh, wow, you gotta watch this guy. I felt, both these guys feel like when people first were introduced to Shyamalan with The Sixth Sense in a way, except Sixth Sense was way more of a Hollywood movie. But they're both kind of making psychological, horror kind of situations from that. And I feel like with both these guys, they suffer from that kind of sophomore success slump. Where Hereditary, as much as I don't like it, I was always able to appreciate all the acting and the production that went into it. The acting in that movie is amazing, but I never want to watch it again. Same with, so then Midsummer comes out, and it's this bright, colorful, really well done, all right acted movie. I thought the acting in Midsummer was less. I didn't really care for the acting, and for the most part in Midsummer, I did still appreciate the work that went involved, but it was definitely, it was they the big, oh wow, I got success, and here's a 2.5 hour movie about a bunch of dipshit college kids that get murdered by a bunch of Swedes. Or whatever, wherever they're from. And I didn't like that movie very much. I thought it was funny. I thought it was more funny than anything. But we're not here to review that. We're talking just like The Witch, right? Had this it was a small movie, came out of nowhere, and blew people's minds. Now with The Lighthouse, which is a bit longer than The Witch was, I think probably about almost a half an hour, maybe close to it. Again, I think we suffer from that. This is the one that they really want to tell. And again, while I appreciate the performances in this, Robert Pattinson is fantastic in this. I always hoped that he was better than Twilight, and he proved it. He's a good actor. I didn't like Good Time, but I appreciated his acting. I haven't really watched a lot of his stuff just because they don't appeal to me, like White Water for Elephants and Cosmopolitan or Cosmo or whatever that was called. But he's fantastic in this, and Dafoe is anytime, Defoe's one of those guys who just never seems to ever hit a peak. He just keeps getting, he's just always good for the most part. Even in bad things, he's usually pretty good. And so, performance-wise, really great. It's a minimal looking area, so I'd have to say, I guess it's well shot because we just kind of see the same places. I love the aspect ratio change. It makes it very claustrophobic feeling. I always like watching, all of a sudden these movies are getting put in that cutting off the widescreen angle. I remember when people used to fight watching widescreens for so long. I used to be like, everybody, you're getting the full picture. I remember it's like when I was trying to tell people about Netflix, and nobody was like, nah, I don't want to hear anything about Netflix. It's not going to be a thing. And I'm like, it's the way. I feel the same way about widescreen presentation. I kept telling everybody, you're seeing the whole picture, and everybody's like, no, I don't like the black bars. It's like, I feel like I'm always ahead of my time on some of this stuff. I know I'm going off on tangents, but just talking about aspect ratios. So I think it's kind of funny that people are going back to that aspect ratio to tell stories, and it's good. I think, but now people are used to widescreen, and I think some people are going to be like, why can't I see the full damn screen now, man? I paid $600 for this TV. I want to see the whole thing. So, automatically you're going to have some people that are just going to be cheesed off by that, not understand that the guy's doing it for artistic reasons. And that's the other thing that I compare it to Midsummer about, is that this is a really artsy movie, just like Midsummer was. And that's going to probably turn some people off. And the fact that it's done in this very psychological way, where we're cutting to times and when is this happening, when is this happening, when is this happening, that it's going to confuse a lot of people. I was able to keep up with it for the most part. I believe that, none of the fantasy stuff in this I think is happening. I mean, I think this is actually a pretty straightforward movie once you cut through all the imagery, which is Pattinson plays a guy who let another guy die that he didn't like, that was his foreman. And, spoilers, by the way, it's at the beginning of the video. And he's haunted by it, and he took that guy's identity, but he had to take off where nobody would know him. And so he bounces and takes this job as a lighthouse keeper to make some more money. Assistant lighthouse keeper to Willem Dafoe. And that was the other thing I was thinking about, was just like The Witch, right? An isolation movie where this family, because of their principles, leaves society to go be isolated out in the middle of nowhere. And I was like, who would fucking choose that life? I asked myself the same question in this movie. What kind of person is drawn to this kind of isolated life? This job that supposedly only takes 4 weeks, but seriously, the noise. I remember just thinking at the beginning of this movie, hearing that, over and over again. I would go fucking bananas. And at least they kind of answer this, Defoe's kind of just a nut, so he's perfect for being out there. But Pattinson seemed on the surface like a regular guy. So when they explained that he's basically kind of on the run, but not he didn't kill anybody. He just didn't help anybody live, as far as I could tell from the story. And so he took his identity, and that's, I guess, the illegal part, his identity theft in the early, 1900s maybe? Late 1800s. And he goes mad out here, probably from guilt and just isolation. And with some nut job that's barking orders at you, which reminds him of the foreman. And that, to me, is pretty much it. And it's just this slow descent into madness. And while it's really well done and really well acted, I love that there's basically almost almost no score. I don't know if there's a score in this movie at all. And when it goes to shocking, moments with killing the gull, which I thought was hilarious, to be honest with you. And when they'd get into drunken brawls all of a sudden, and he sees him as Poseidon, and the tentacles, and the mystery of why he can't go into the lighthouse. It's all really well done, but the story just is so minimal and so all over the place, as far as is it happening? Is it not happening? Having to make this sense of time, and I think that's what it's trying to do, is to take you off guard and to make you feel as taken out of time as these characters are. And I don't think that that's going to work for a lot of people. It works for me. I don't really, and this is again just other movies. Although I will watch The Witch, I will never not watch The Witch. That movie is fantastic and haunting and hypnotic and hard not to watch. I feel drawn to that movie to go back to it. But Hereditary and Midsummer, I know those aren't the same guy. By the way, I don't never need to see this movie again. And the only thing I didn't understand was possibly the ending, because after he for real kills Dafoe instead of fantasizing about doing him in and then leaving him buried. I was like, oh, as soon as he leaves him not buried, I'm like, he's coming back like a Psycho style at the very end of this movie. He takes the axe to the shoulder, and he's bleeding pretty bad, and he goes into the lighthouse after he splits Defoe's skull, and he opens up the lighthouse light, or it opens up for him, right? And you're supposed to think that, ooh, magic, but it's not really what's happening, right? I don't think that's what happens. And then and then he falls down the stairs all the way down to the bottom, and the next shot is him being picked apart while he's still alive with gulls, but he looks naked. So all I can think is he fell down to the bottom of the lighthouse. Whatever he saw inside the light drove him mad, like all on mad, full on complete cork popped out of the bottle. And he's stripped naked, and he bled out. He collapses on the beach while the seagulls eat him alive. And that's at least what I took from it. I know that people that are psychology majors or sociology majors, or people that are into philosophy, could break this down way better than me. This is an art house movie and this is a film student movie. This is not a movie that a lot of major audiences are going to like, and that's it. And A24 is a great studio. They put out a lot of really good content. But I think that they have to be the kind of studio that understands that we make art films. we don't necessarily make things for mass consumption, and so while they get some hits, I think Uncut Gems did pretty good. I think that they gotta understand what kind of movies they're making, like what kind of profits is A24 pulling in. I don't know, but like I said, great performances. Great production, as usual. Very interesting movie. But in the end, I mean, I don't know if I can even recommend this to anybody that if you're not if you're not into watching a movie just for the appreciation of just watching it and breaking it down, like the performances and what this might mean and what does this mean. If you're just sitting there trying to watch a movie, this is probably not going to be for you. And that's the best I can do about it. I really have nothing else to say without, there's I'm trying to think of my favorite moment, and it's just kind of a blur, because I really like the moment when he talks about what he did and how he did it, or the moment of watching the man in the, get swallowed up by the logs and all that. I think there's some really great speeches in this, and some hilarious farts from Willem Dafoe. I guess people are saying that he was snubbed, and I do believe that he was snubbed. But I think that this kind of movie, I don't even know if a lot of the people from the Academy watched this movie. Just because it has two actors that are prominent doesn't mean that everybody's going to watch it, and I think that that's probably why he got snubbed. Not because his performance wasn't worth it, but I think because a lot of Academy members probably didn't watch this movie yet. So, anyway, if you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications. Otherwise, this is Robert Smirking Gun Reviews saying you can find me on Twitter at reviews_gun. We'll see you on the next video. Bye.